Good morning, my student. Today we will talk about lesson 2, excretion in plants. Excretion in plant doesn't causes any serious problem. Why? Give reason. Number one, the rate of catabolism is much lower in plants than in animals of the same weight. So accumulation of metabolic wastes in the plant cells will be very slow. Also, number two, green plants can reuse the catabolic wastes like what? Carbon dioxide and water, which result from respiration. All of us know that it's important for the plant in photosynthesis process. The plant can use again photosynthesis process. Number P, nitrogenous wastes are reused in the synthesis of required proteins. Okay. Also, number three, the metabolism of plants is based mainly on carbohydrate rather than protein, so this reduces the excretory needs. As wastes of carbohydrates metabolism are less toxic, okay, than those resulted from protein metabolism. Also, we have that number four, metabolic wastes such as organic salts and acid are stored in the form of insoluble crystals in the cytoplasm or in the vacuum. Okay, since these crystals are insoluble, they will cause no harm to the cells. Take care that also many plants get rid of carbon dioxide and some mineral salts through their roots. Okay. Also, number two, plants which live in soil rich in calcium can get rid of excess amount of these elements by its accumulation in leaves, which are finally shed. Number three, carbon dioxide result from respiration and oxygen obtained from photosynthesis are excreted through stomata by diffusion. Number four, excess water also lost mainly through transpiration and guttation. What's the meaning by guttation? Guttation, it seems that some drops of water are seen at the leaf tips of some plants, like potatoes with tomatoes. This occurs in early morning in the spring. There is a special system for guttation which consists of one or more loose cells which opening by water stoma, which is called hydasode, which open constantly day and night. Okay, guttation water contain other substances which can therefore be deposits when water evaporates rapidly. Okay. After that, we'll talk about transpiration. What's the importance of water in the plant? The plant needs water more than animal of equal weight. The animal can retain water in its body to be used again, while the plant loses about 90% of its water content to outside. The plant absorbs about 17 times more water daily than that taken in by a man of equal masses. One faddan of maize plant needs more than 2 million liters of water during its life. Okay. In fact, great quantity of water are absorbed from the soil mainly through the roots. Water is then transferred through the conductive tissue xylem to the stem and leaves. At the same time, the plant loses most of this water in continuous manner. Loss of water in form of water vapor from the plant is called transpiration. What's the meaning by transpiration? It means loss of water in form of water vapor. Stomatal transpiration. Water passes in form of vapor through the moist cell wall of the mesophyll tissue and evaporates into the intercellular spaces where it diffuses out to the atmosphere through the stomata. The same process occurs in other cells with intercellular spaces between them in different plant tissue. More than 90% of the total water loss is lost through the stomata and is called stomatal transpiration. The stomata occurs in plant leaves rather than in other vegetative organs. So most of the transpired water is loose through the leaves in most dicotyledon plants. The leaf blades are wide and flattened and contain network of veins. The veins also contain transporting element, the xylem. As we have studied before, is xylem conducting tubes which allow water to pass from down to up, which provides the mesophyll with water. The mesophyll tissue is characterized by presence of intercellular spaces, which allow water to evaporate continuously to these spaces through the cell wall. We have two types of transpiration. We have cuticular transpiration. Small quantities of water pass through cuticle, which cover the epidermis, outer epidermis of vegetative organs in form of water vapor. It doesn't exceed 5% of total amount of loose wood. Also, we have lenticular transpiration. Okay, stem of woody plants lose small amount of or small quantity of water vapor through the lenticels by lenticular transpiration. It doesn't exceed 5% of the total amount of lost. We have an experiment to illustrate transpiration in plants. If we took plotted if we take a potted lively plant, cover the soil surface and the surface of the pot with paraffin, and place this potted plant on a glass sheet under a dry bell jar and wait it for some time. What can we observe? Tiny droplets of water appear on the inside of the bell jar that accumulate, becomes bigger in size and run downward on the wall of the bell jar. Conclusion: air inside the bell jar receives water vapor from the plant, okay, which condensing forming water which that it change with white color of anhydrous copper sulfate into blue, confirming that a water pass from the exposed parts of the plant to the surrounding air. What's the importance of transpiration for the plant? Number one, it decreases the plant temperature. It like air conditioner for the human. Okay, decrease the plant temperature. A large amount of energy absorbed by the leaf is in the form of heat or is converted into heat inside the leaf tissue. These many cases arise in the leaf temperature, especially in sunny, warm days. These rise in temperature harm the protoplasm and could lead to its death. If transpiration didn't decrease, okay. The number two, ascent of water and salt from the soil, and we have studied it in the first term. From the forces which allow water to pass inside the high level or the high maximum meters of some trees, it's by the transpiration force. The soil, the root cells contain cell sap with concentration of soluble organic and inorganic substance higher than that of the soil solution. As a result, the soil water enters the root cells by osmosis. The osmotic pressure is sufficient to move water from the root hair to the inner root tissue till it reaches the xylem vessel and tracheids. Water rises upward through the xylem vessel of the stem, then through vessels of leaves in veins, and at the end it reaches mesophyll cell sap, decreasing the ability of these cells to pull more water. There are intercellular spaces full of water between mesophyll cells to which water evaporates. As a result of continuous loss of water from mesophyll cells, the concentration of salts in these cells increases, and so the ability to pull water upward increases, and this explains what's called transpiration cycle and its role in ascent of water. We must take care that osmotic pressure is only enough to move water through the plant stem for short distance by what is known as root pressure. In some trees, water has to move through their vessels to a height reaching up to 125 meters, and so a new theory was put forward to explain the force which pushes water to such height. This theory is known as adhesion, cohesion, and transpiration. Both theory we have studied before in the first. Another experiment to show that water ascends through xylem. We will fill test tube with iocine solution, carefully detach a small flowering plant with its roots from its soil, immerse these plant roots in the iocine solution and close using a cotton wool plug. Keep this tube in a vertical position for few hours. Okay, what did you observe? The leaf petioles change to pink, as well as the veins of the leaf and the petals. Cut a thin transverse section of the plant stem and examine it under the microscope after placing it on a slide. Observation 2. Xylem vessel only is stained by leucine. Okay. So, conclusion, pink coloration of petioles and petal vein indicates that the iodine solution reach these organs, and this experiment proves that the water is absorbed by roots. The water ascends through xylem tissue of the stem to the leaves. Also, number 3, an experiment to show the ascent of water by transpiration. We will fill a small beaker with mercury and fill narrow tube with water and invert it in the beaker so that its lower end become immersed in the mercury. Cut leafy twig of potted plant under water and insert the lower tip of the twig in a cork plug through a hole and fix the cork plug tightly with the twig in the upper opening of the tube and close it firmly with Vaseline. Number 4, mark the mercury level in the tube and leave the apparatus in open air for a while. Observation, mercury rises in the tube. Conclusion, the rise of mercury in the tube is due to transpiration ball where the leafy twig loses water by evaporation, so water from the tube must rise to replace it. As a result, mercury rises up in the tube, and this indicates that water lost by transpiration generates a pool which raises the mercury instead. Okay. Thank you, my student. Okay, at the end of this lesson, and we will meet soon, inshallah. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.